Folks, this is Brian. Got an RQG session review. This is session 33. If you want to watch the live play, it's in the description. So the session started off with a little review of what had ended up with Lars and the treasure chests and the party departing the temple. As they're rounding a corner, they run into a gorp. And I don't remember, because the party ran into a gorp before back when we were doing troll raid, and I don't recall if I remembered exactly how the gorp attacked, back then, as I'm reviewing my little monster spreadsheet stuff. I see how it just needs to be up next to somebody and then it attacks by trying to envelop them and as many people as it's next to. So now they were in the wilderness last time, and I do remember people trying to break away and keeping distance and that kind of thing. But if you're trying to hack at the sucker, you've got to be standing next to it, in which case everybody standing next to it is getting engulfed. And I do not recall that happening. Now you get to save against the envelopment with a Dex ×5 roll, which isn't really that difficult necessarily. The Gorp does have a percentage to hit. So my rationale on that was, well, obviously hit and miss kind of stuff. But if you got a special, then their Dex ×5 roll goes down because it doesn't really do multiple levels. It doesn't have special damage. Although I suppose critical damage would apply because it does acid damage, and if it's critical, then it bypasses the armor. I don't know, maybe. Because acid is generally treated like poison, where it's potency against something else. I'm gonna have to look into the rule book again on that to see. Maybe I should have done this a little differently. But anyway, party comes around. They see something there. They do some backup. They drop Lars and back up some more and put down the chest and shift around. Cast Blade Sharp. Move up. Nick just comes forward, does a couple envelopes. So does a little bit of damage. Everybody, I think, made their Dex ×5 rolls. Oh, except for Arestra. Arestra missed one. I think Englar may have missed one as well. So they took some acid damage themselves, and it damaged their armor. And then Otto and Englar are hacking at it. Otto's got his Blade Sharp 2. The magic, only magic and fire affect Corp, so the magic did damage. He did a special as well. So he did, instead of 2 points, 4 points, that kind of thing. A couple of whittle downs. Arestra was trying to throw disruption at it. She made 1. And between like 3 rounds of combat, there was enough to take the Gorp out. Now the Gorp got to the point, hit point wise, where one more hit's going to take it out. And start thinking, is the Gorp going to try and get away? Well, it knows it can't because it's so slow. But if it tries to get away and they move up, then it's going to do the envelopment, which is kind of an attack anyway. So I just kind of left it there. And Ingrilar was going to just back out. So we discussed a little bit about the whole flee versus a round of disengagement. His intent was to strike at it and then depart. And so I talked about, okay, if you do that, that's considered a flee, in which case it gets a free attack on you. But admittedly, it's just a Dex ×5 save, so it may not be that much of an issue. Besides, he'll just spend the next round doing his disengage. But Otto hit it that round and ended up killing it. So kind of gets uses out. I had to slip over the fall into the water and wash away off the bridge thing there. So they gather everything back up, head out of the temple, start heading towards their encampment. About an hour out is when Lars comes out of the sleep poison. And by then, the spell effects of the weakness had also worn off. So they, put him down, get his stuff back on him, continue along. They do have an encounter in the wilderness. It was with Satari hunters. Oh, right, Satari there. Andriki hunters. What they're hunting in the Trollwoods may be kind of an issue, but they're hunters, not raiders. So there are animals there. So, but I rolled a little reaction roll kind of thing, and they were kind of unfriendly. So the party had Subutai, and his player wasn't there, so they were just kind of playing for him, kind of thing, about trying to use some kind of hunter-handed arm signals to engage in conversation, that kind of thing, get something going on. They come up, they're, hey, what are you doing? You're so noisy, you're going to scare away the game, just get out of here. And the party didn't really try to interact very much beyond that. They said they're heading back to their camp and, good luck kind of stuff. Party gets to the camp, they unload all the treasure stuff. Nothing happened at camp. Um, Engrilar's weapon and Otto's weapons as they were attacking the Gorp both got damaged. So Otto, being the initiate of these guys, all lay members, tells them, "Hey, give me your sword, take mine, you can get yours back. When and if I get back, kind of thing." They ask about what happened out there and that kind of thing. So there's some story going on. The rest of the night and the next morning they take off back over to the try. Oh, so what should we do next? They kind of figure since they killed the temple spirits that they're pretty much mission complete for that. But then there's where the dryad was and the steps going down. But then there's this door that never went. Well, they did go through. They opened it up. But there was a smell of musky smell, a little bit of death kind of thing on that side. And then there's the cavern that never went into either. Decide to check out the whole dryad situation. So they go back around that temple area. They get to, as they come around, the dryad is there. She's holding onto the bars, trying to get out. So she sees them. She jumps back and gets in the corners. Carreen is looking down, back at them. And Arestra moves up and uses Earth speech to speak to her. It makes a couple good rolls. They get some communication. She shares with them that she's in danger, that they're killing her people, and to come help. And after that, she starts looking around and then fades away. Dissipates her body, kind of thing. So they decide to go down. They open up the portcullis, there's a latch, so it stays open. To go and start walking down the stairs. These are wooden stairs. They're kind of concerned about that. What are they rotted out? What kind of condition they are? Now it's kind of humid here, but they're not like ancient rotted out wood or anything. Not full holes or really thin. It's a decent construction. But they start going down, and they got about halfway down, I think it was, when it's actually a trap, and they trapped it. So the steps all tilted and it became a giant slide. And looked over the falling rules because I was thinking at first doing half damage, but that'd be like 3d6, and this did not sound right. And there's a thing where if you make a jump roll, you can decrease it by 1 step. But I could have swore there was something else about when you're dropping into water, you decrease the damage by a step as well. But I couldn't find that. And the way scenario is written is, they get to the bottom and they tumble into the water. But there's like a ways before you actually hit the water. So I just had them make the jump rolls. A couple of them made it, a couple of missed. And then they slide down. I just had them take, 1 die on a successful jump roll, 2 dice on a failed, which can be significant. And then when they get to the bottom, they can make a dex times 5 roll to see if, to determine if they're able to establish what body part takes the damage. Do they land on their feet? They land on the shoulder? Take it in the chest? Whatever. So a couple of them take a few points. Somebody took some pretty decent damage to the chest. It's kind of funny. They're trying to figure out, okay, Subutai, where's his beefiest, best armored locations? And his head, adding armor points to hit points, was either 10 or 11. I couldn't quite tell with the writing. And his chest was 10. So they said that landed on his head, and it did like 4 points of damage. So it didn't even get through his helmet. So Could I have argued that in a fall kind of thing, armor doesn't protect? Maybe, but they're doing this tumble thing, so I don't know. And then they were talking about trying to slide down, you control their fall kind of deal. So that made sense for that one. So they hit the ground at the bottom of the slide. I roll for random locations out in front of where they ended up being. Subutai and Otto were in one hex together, and everybody else was actually spread out on either side of the slide. Well, down the bottom here is a giant spider. She's in her web, and I gave her an initial surprise attack kind of thing because she spits out webs that acts like a glue spell to people. But she's got a fairly decent hide and move quietly skill. So I should have done an opposed roll for their scan versus her hide. I missed doing that initially. I just had to make a scan to see if they could see her. Those who missed their scan, I had them continue to make scan rolls every time there was some obvious thing about, she spits out more goo. Look again, do I see her? So they're able to put off Lars for a couple of rounds and super tight for a round kind of thing before they start shooting at her with all these bows. And everybody seemed to be going off on strike rank 7, which is when she spits. But she nailed Otto initially. He's pretty strong. He was able to break out. He rolled really, really well too. And then she nailed Engrolar, and he could not get out. So Restra went up and using her axe she did blade sharp, tried to do blade sharp on her axe, but she's using her axe to try and cut the webs to help get it out. There's some discussion in the old Ooze lore book that's got giant spiders in there about the strength of the web, and if you do the webs for the damage, it opens up a hole big enough to climb for a human to climb through, kind of thing. So I just adjusted the strength of the web based upon the damage she did. Took away her damage bonus and did half damage with the axe. That both agreed that's kind of what she was doing. But after doing some damage, he was able to break free. After all these arrows go through, spiders getting low on hit points. In fact, got hit in the front thorax a couple times pretty decently, and so she skitters off down into the cave. And I didn't do a really good description of the fact that the river is running through this cavernous mouth, and this giant spider is up in there. The web itself is like 10 meters in diameter, kind of thing. It's up off the water and up into the cavern top, but it's got a little a tunnel tube kind of thing back into the cavern itself. So it skittered away, and they're trying to figure out, can we scoot underneath there, get there? Can we burn down the webs? We can burn some of the web, but you're gonna be able to burn the thing down. And that finally gets across. I tried to re-describe everything. So they're making scan rolls. Okay, what else do we see? There's some description of stuff like there, and then they see this, giant ball of cocoon stuff up front. Something inside there is moving around, is alive. The largest concern, it might be a person, but somebody made a pretty decent scan roll. Well, they also noticed in the water on the edges, caught in web stuff, some heads, and back in there for there's some bodies, that kind of thing. Like giant centipedes all cocooned up, and a bunch of little things all over too. But it's an egg sac. And so they're trying to figure out, is this a person? In this case, we don't want to be shooting it, because that's what the first thing, let's fire arrows, let's burn it up. Versus, is this an egg sac? I think, as we're discussing, it's probably not a person, because a person, feet moving, or maybe a knee or an elbow, but there's like lots of little things in here going around. So they fire it up, and this thing has got hundreds of baby spiders in it, rat-sized baby spiders. And the rules have 10 to 100 coming down to attack the party. 3 members of the party are on the bridge, firing arrows at this thing. And there are 2 other bars on each side flanking for protection. Well, the spider egg sac explodes, and then 50 spiders attack the party. I rolled randomly to determine how many on either side. It was fairly even split, 23 on one side, 27 on the other. And I've got a mechanic based on the fancy trip for these nuisance encounters. So having every single one attack, you roll a d6 kind of thing, and if it's 50%, 3 or less, then there's a point of damage, and then all the points add up to overcome the armor and actually do damage to it. And then there's poison damage on top of that for these spiders. And that, well, even a fancy trip can, if you got enough, can take somebody out. In Runequest, where you've got, location hit points and stuff, it's even worse. So I kind of try to decrease the severity of the issue. First by rolling, okay, how many hits do we have? A wrestler had 11 hits, and I rolled location for each one. There were like 4 on the left leg, 1 on the right leg, 2 on the chest, 1 in the head. But with those kinds of numbers, I'm not going to get through armor. So I may adjust that again. I'm not sure. Just do general hit points based upon average armor or the weakest kind of thing, maybe. Something I'll think about for the future. So none of the armor, none of the bites got through the armor, and so no poison got into her system either. She says, I'm going to drop and roll trying to crush spiders that are on her and on the floor there where she is. And in Fancy Trip, there's a thing where you can stomp and then attack one on you kind of thing. But yeah, it makes sense. Rolling down, and so I figured she's probably killing 5 around. She's rolling forward and rolling back, so that's 10. That 27 drops down to 17. Then were the ones who were actually able to do damage to her. The 17 is when I did the 4 on the leg kind of thing. Angrelar decides to jump into the river, hold on to the edge, dump himself underneath. So just the river wash the spiders off, which it does. Spiders are gone, but this is freezing cold water. So he takes a D3 worth of damage, general hit points, and then he's going to summon his Naiad because he hadn't had a chance to do that yet, and he's got plenty of water to do that. And so we go through that really quick. He wanted to use his water rune to augment his spell casting with his water rune. And that sounds like double dipping to me, but then we actually looked at his runes, and his movement is 45, his water 75, his water is 70. So cast with your movement rune, use your water to augment. Yeah, I'm good with that. So that's what we did, and it's successful. So she's there, and he's going through the bestiary. I'm going through the bestiary, trying to figure out, okay, what does this Naiad really do? We know she's got lots of magic, but what else can she do? And everything is tied to her domain, and for her domain is that she's summoned here is this river. So she can command incomplete creatures, animals in the water. So yeah, there are some fish and crayfish and stuff like that. So if they wanted to have them come up and get eaten, we could do that. But it also talks about spirits, and that's kind of in Glorantha. There's like all kinds of spirits, right? There's animal spirits, there's plant spirits, there's location spirits. There's water spirits, there's tree spirits, all kinds of stuff, right? So it's in their domain. So they're in the water spirits. There are no water spirits here. It may even be chaos tainted. I haven't decided that yet. And my gut feeling says it is. So that may actually have some kind of secondary effect on her. We'll figure that out. But then they have, okay, so what can she do? Well, let's go down the river, bring those bodies up so we can take a look at them, go down the river a ways and see if it doesn't open up or what. But no, this thing goes for miles. So she goes down, look back down here, comes back. Did bring up the bodies. There was 3 of them, 2 females decapitated, naked, waterlogged, been nibbled on by fish, that kind of stuff. And a body of a dragon newt. Dragon newt had its head. It wasn't decapitated like the human bodies were. So they got some of that information. They asked about the area around there. North of there's a stone bridge that goes over the river. North of the bridge is a slightly open area that actually moves into a tunnel that is an actual hallway, brick and mortar hallway. And it's getting late at that point, and some of the guys are getting pretty tired, so that's where we end up cutting off. It's about almost a 3-hour video on the live play. I did run into an issue with the giant spider because I've got the giant spider's hit location in my monster spreadsheet thing, and instead of, I'm not sure why I did this way, but instead of doing the hit location like they've got in the bestiary, or even the old one out of Oozlore, which I had to actually pull up because I only had the melee. I didn't have the missile one. I had at one point, because it's a multi-hex creature. So if you're attacking from the front, you're not going to be able to hit any of the back legs. If you're attacking from the side, the right side, you're going to be able to hit any of the left side legs, you know, that kind of thing. Could have simply said it was a leg and it says the other side is just this side, you know, that kind of deal. I'm not sure. And then there's the two pieces of the thorax deal. And what I had in my spreadsheet was actually wrong even for that effect. And I had, you know, left front legs, right, left front leg, left leg, front right legs, front left legs. Because there's 4 front legs and 4 rear legs, because it's got 8 legs, right? And instead of having like, you know, 1d20 for one, 1d20 for another, you know, doing that thing, I had a bulk of them, and they just rolled, you know, odd or even kind of stuff. It was something I was postulating and working on previously on my hit location stuff, but I just pulled the Oozlore one and we just used it right out there, which is, you know, a bunch of them were just this leg's this one, this percent, this leg's this that percent, and then there's like 5 points for the admin, another 5 points for the admin. But they had hitting it in the head a couple of times, and that's when she took off. And I tried to be fair because she was going to spit on 7, and she got damaged on, I think it was 5. And so she changed her mind. She's splitting. 5-star rank Slayer, she can change her intent, that kind of thing, a delayed reaction. So if somebody else would have hit her before then, she might have gone down. They did get a impale on one of her legs and took it off, but she split. Okay. Not a whole lot of role playing that I tried to be a little more expansive with this whole hunting party. They're going to communicate, but they didn't. Trying to be more Runequesty and less hack and slash, which this whole thing is. These cultists, you know, they're death cultists. They're not afraid to die. They're here to kill. If they die, they just become, you know, ancestor spirits for the cult. You know, it's only a good thing. So that's been all hack and slash, hack and slash, hack and slash. I'm trying to interact more with the other stuff going on. While there's still brew down in here, and the brew, while they don't want to die, you know, they're all out to hack and slash as well. There's obviously dragon ooze down here since they found the body of one, and I had to adjust one of those. Power creep happened on. I'd gone wild, so I had to bring it back down. And so their perspective, and I already knew their perspective was going to be different than the brew or the death cult. I already knew that. So we'll see how that works out here. I have to go through and just review what's down this hallway and the rest of this area for next time. We'll see how it goes. Until then, happy gaming.